Yeah. Why to make your own snowboard? Because I love DIYing. There's no bigger pleasure than work with my own stuff and then build, create something. The other reason, as Jon Snow said, the winter is coming. I have to get it going. So the other reason is I tried one of the boards. It's called the Blue Velvet, but the shortest one they had is a women. It's a women's board. It's 147 centimeters. 179 centimeters height. So theoretically, I should be riding 153 centimeters board, but I don't like longer boards. I like shorter boards. I even like shorter than 147. And the woman's that Blue Velvet. To my liking, it was very flimsy. I thought I was probably gonna break it. So I'm making my own board so I can make a shorter board and I make a stiffer board. Now, what I loved about the Blue Velvet, it has that magnet traction or whatever you call it. It has a good grip, and the most awesome part that it has a mixed profile. It has a camber, rocker camber. It's such a forgiving board. You can go flat, you can go on the edges, like the whole lot. So I got my gear from snowboardmaterials.com. I got the core. I would have made a core, but I've no space here in the garage. I got the steel edges, ABS, all the backing. My vacuum pump is ready to go. Fiberglass, resin is there, everything. So the last time when I traced that board, I traced the profile, I traced the shape. To eliminate all these imperfections, now I have to make a spot-on symmetrical template, so I can start working with the router and I can start making the shape. So what I will do here, I will find the center line, square it off, center line, square it off, cut it off, fold it, cut it off, fold it, so I have 4 pieces by the line. And then I'll make sure all my four pieces are matched. Also, I will shorten a bit in here to have a board at probably 143, 144 ish, whatever. So I will shorten my board. I like the width. The width is the same as kind of used to. The widest point is 28 centimeters. I don't like the little bit of a length. So once I have a template, then I can start making a mold. Let's do this. Now, there's the shape of my mold. So, just to show you what's the profile look like. Hold on, the other side maybe you will see better. Got the thing screwed on together. There's my mold. So as you could see, I was using a square because there's a little variations in the routering, plus from the moisture and the drying, because I was working outside in the shed, like they slightly going up and down. So what I did in here, I kept it square this line, and I kept in the line on the top, in the line at the bottom, which is not in the top and the side, which is eliminates, like, show you, like these a little from the routering, and a difference in the thickness slightly, which is the bottom and the back is doesn't matter, as long as the top it's all flush and it's all in the line. So I kept this line, that was my reference point, plus kept it square. So when screwing on, kept that one in the line, middle part, 3/4, and this part. So this way my mold, it's all nice and flat. Now maybe you will be able to see the profile here. Okay, so I got my template cardboard split in four, clamped all four, cut it out, make sure it's all four even. So I took one as a template. Got the straight line, got my four corners. So this way I know that this is my all symmetrical. Now that's 73 centimeters to center, so it's 146 when it's lying flat. So when the edges is roll up, I'd say it's gonna be centimeter and a half, I'd say less. So it's gonna be 143 ish. Now that I have my main board, I can start cutting my base material, which is have to be strengthened up because it came in the package, came in a roll. Now let's see that profile. Fancy magna traction. Blending my steel edges. I have only a little bit done. The way I thought first of all I'll make some ready device or something like a pliers, but it kind of works well just with the normal pliers, holding one hand one edge and then turning little, kind of goes. Now I got one edge, one side done. Now I don't have enough bloody clamps, so I just have to glue it half, and then the other half, and then do the other half, and four goes. I thought I will sand this one, but those steel edges, they come in kind of rough and surface matte, sort of. That shouldn't stay good. Now I should put on glue on the other side, upside down, but I was bending here to make sure it's all nice and tight and aligned. And what I'll be using a tin CA, tin or lean. It's so liquid that it goes every tiny little cracks. So after I glue this side, then I flip it around and then I run across the correct surface. I cut it out my front and back plastics, and I left the roughly 2 millimeters all the way out. That will eliminate a little misalignment when I'm forming. Also my sides are 10 millimeters wide, so when I trace the plastic with the steel edges, I left the 8 millimeters in, so my plastic will sticking out 2 millimeters in each side. Basically I will have 2 millimeters outside for a play to eliminate that little misalignment when I'm forming. Also I notice that other people do, they just cut out the square and make this one, but I wanted a bit of a wood. Also I will be overlapping here, as you can see, because if you just button up like this, it will not be as strong as if you overlap. As I noticed as well, that some people, they just button up like that and that's it, molded, and off we go. Somehow I think that's not good enough for me, so right, now we have to cut out the board, glue them on, and then I can do the inserts. Now got my plastics in and I sand it. For the insert I'll be using only 12 of them, so I don't need them holes. I can have either the wide, either the narrow, just only my preference. Board is not for sale, it's only for my use, so whatever I'm using, I don't need extra these. Now some of the thickness varies in here, and there's a little rowdery. It's probably from the factory, they just stamp it and that's it, but I want to have my perfect thickness and exact, because that one goes in normally, the other one is sticking out a bit, So when I punch this in, it's going to be sticking out when I want to flush. So I've got my Dremel set up, and I will route the holes before I glue it on. Make sure it's all nice and flush. All dried. I sanded this. There's a tiny little bow. These are lifted, but that's okay because it's gonna sink in the fiberglass. That's my base gonna go. It's the bottom one, and that little bit is lifted because I wanted to keep these perfectly level, and that's why I sanded this one first, so I can glue them in and not to touch them, because those inserts, they come in with the little plastic film on top that is for when you're molding, make sure the resin doesn't go in the threads. So that's my all good. My core is all sanded and ready. Now for the molding, I have my, what the hell is that thing? I have my 3-axle fiberglass, rather than and I'm gonna put in 2 layers rather than 1 3-axle and 1 biaxial, because I want the board stiffer. I want a short board and I want a stiff board. Also, I got this carbon fiber. There's a unidirectional. The weave goes only one way. I have to cut the patterns. These lay it out. I will have I think like 2 strips at the bottom, 2 strips at the top, and few crisscross sections. Now the other thing, after I put on the fiberglass, I want to do a bit of a decal. So instead of going for the rice paper, what I want to do here, I'm trying out, it's a printing paper. It's sort of a brownish paper that soaks in very well the resin. So I'm gonna have my little writings and my old school robot with wrenches instead of crossbones. Anyway, what I'm aiming for, that this one's once it soaks in the resin, the edges become slightly blurry, sort of when you spray paint, like the missed corners, the missed paint. So trying to achieve sort of like a sticker on little bits and pieces, and the other one I will cut out completely by the edges. And it's supposedly, after 2 carbon strips in here at the face, supposedly this one, the carbon will shine through the red a bit. It's in tattoo world is known as a trash polka style. So we'll see how that's gonna turn out. Let's get the shed ready, and we're nearly good for molding. Oh well, my camera died at some point. I thought I had a charge. Well, I got the most of it. Don't know which point did it die. I was fiberglassing, then I put the core on, then more carbon fiber. Not sure if you can see, there's 2 strips in there. After carbon fiber, there's another layer of fiberglass. Then I put my decals on, and then I put the top layer, top plastic. Putting on the mold, way down with the bricks. This is the breather fabric, the tissue, so to speak, and the poly caulk around, and pumped a bit of a vacuum. Now seems like I'm losing a little bit of a vacuum over time in some bloody areas. This is my dodgy area in here a wee bit, because that hose is not flexible. Anyway, she looks all the way down. Now I have to keep on monitor the vacuum and we'll see. Let's do some Brazilian waxing. Ahoy. I was waiting for the season to end so I can tell you more about how it handles and bits and pieces. But then my season ended a bit earlier. I have a collarbone broken in three pieces. Anyway, now the board itself, it's a win. It's a really good win. I'm loving it. I'm loving that board. Exactly what I expected from it because I wanted a short and stiff board, and stiffness might be tiny bit maybe too stiff. For the next season, I'll be probably not gonna go as nuts on the carbon fiber reinforcements, and other than that, it's just perfect for the park. It's exactly what I was aiming for. Now, is it 100% perfect? It's not the factory standard perfect, and I'll point it out at the few little fuck ups in here. So the mold, when I was making the mold, there was a tiny little dips and something. I thought that will be evening out by the whole forming process, because this is the ABS. It's not like flexible like a cellophane or something. Plus there's a core and the whole lot. But when I pressed on the vacuum, it's still it's not visible. I won't be able to show you, but if you look down, there's one tiny little dip. There's another tiny little dip that does not affect at all. So once you wax it, it's all nice and smooth. But still, it's just a little bits and pieces that's bugging me. Now the resin, I did not put any PVA mold release agent on the ABS plastic. I should have done that. When the resin got behind the mold, it stuck to that ABS. I thought that because it was glossy, it would peel off like pretty easily, scrape it off, but it didn't. It stuck in there like there's no tomorrow. So I had a good bit of scraping to do, a cutting up knife with the knife, and then I ended up sanded with a very fine grit, just still keep it as smooth as possible. But yet again, when it's waxed, there's no big deal, but it's still something for the future that this has to be put on something, either masking tape or PVA mold release agent. Make sure the resin doesn't stick to it. Same at the front. Same at the front too. The top layer, I like the way it turned out. It's kind of semi-matte, semi-glossy. But initial plan was to have it glossy, and I failed a bit on this one. The resin, yet again, when the resin seeps in, it's stuck around the edges, and again I had to scrape it. I ended up sanding the whole lot with a smooth and give it a bit of a wax polish. Now the molding, the graphics, the way it turned out, I love it. It's just a few little, I'm not sure if it's visible here, there's a few little tiny air pockets, air bubbles, I'm used to my models, RC aircraft and drones and all the resin forming that use the least amount of resin as possible, which makes it stronger and lighter. But snowboarding, it's not the case. I should have put a bit of an extra resin because I see there's another strip of air bubbles. There's a few in there and the whole lot. Other than that, it's one of my best builds. Like that, I really enjoy it. So build another one for the next season. This season is over. Have a look at me shredding a pow pow and splitting my collarbone, which looks bloody innocent. Didn't do anything stupid when I split it, but hey, it is what it is. Till next time.